Welcome back to Funding Friday. I've got a familiar face joining me today. Dan, welcome back. Thanks for coming back for us.
Most welcome, Deb. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Thank you. So Dan Cope, you may remember from an episode we did a little while ago where we were talking about £250 grants that you could access to heat some people in your office, or to be able to do something for your business that brings you more in line with green credentials. And we are back with an exclusive today, Dan, I understand. I'm not going to rattle on too much. I'm going to hand over to you, but just setting the scene. Funding Fridays, we cover grants from across the region of Midlands and the east of England. So the grant that we're going to talk about today, Dan will tell you about the locality that this is specific to, and apologies if this doesn't exist in your area. I will keep digging and keep finding those in your area too. So Dan, over to you to tell us a little bit about this week's grant.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for the introduction. So yeah, it's Dan Cope. I'm with Low Carbon Workspaces. So Low Carbon Workspaces, who are we? Well, we're a programme in ERDFs, that's European Union money, effectively, European Regional Development Fund money, to help businesses to reduce their energy bills. And that is through capital investment. By capital investment, simply, I just mean solar, insulation, double glazing, LEDs, anything that can help you reduce your energy bill on your business premises. You're the kind of business we need. You mentioned locality, Deb, and absolutely it's an important one for us. It is a bit of a postcode lottery, unfortunately. We don't like it, but of course we're stuck to our area. So the Low Carbon Workspaces programme is currently operating in Berkshire, Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Hertfordshire, Northamptonshire and Milton Keynes. So that's the complete list currently. I get extra brownie points for naming them all. And you're right, you hinted at an exclusive we have. So traditionally, we've always given under this scheme since 2018, we've given a third towards projects. So for instance, if someone spent £10,000 on solar, we would give them £3,300. That being a third. We're really, really pleased to announce that as of tomorrow, which is today, or is it 2 days time? It'll be Friday.
It'll definitely be live by the time this goes live.
The day after, the day before, the day we do it. So absolutely, when this goes live, it'll be well and truly there, so you can get in touch with us. But we will be lifting the intervention rate up to 40 and 45%. Wow. 45% for all areas, apart from Berkshire. And Berkshire, I'm sorry, Berkshire, it's 40%, but we've still been able to lift it 7% for Berkshire, and of course about 12% elsewhere. So now when they buy that solar for £10,000, we can give them, as soon as they've made that purchase and it's installed, we can give them £4,500 straight back into their banks, meaning that, crikey, on something like solar, the return on investment, something that can last 25 years plus, that return on investment now is as low as 2 years, meaning in 2 years' time, you will have paid for those panels. Now, you know, Deb, I know you will be hearing from businesses, much like we are all the time, of how much they're struggling, and it really is eye-watering. I've actually got a restaurant that I've been working with whose bill was £100,000 in the previous year. So they're no longer under a fixed contract, and that bill this year is going to go up to about £350,000. It's unbelievable. It's unprecedented. As you know, we're seeing this across the scale. It's not just large businesses, even the small and micro businesses, proportionately, they really feel these hits. And to be honest, we have to, come to terms with the fact that many businesses will, unfortunately, go under as a result this winter. Mm-hmm. So we are here. We've got an abundance of unbiased advice. We don't work on commission, so very much if a business wants to contact us within one of these areas, please contact us. Even if it's not about a technology, perhaps you haven't got the money to invest and you want to target behavioural change, well, that's okay. We can help there as well. I guess the silver lining amidst all of this is because the bills are so high, there's a lot to be saved. So a little effort really will go a long way. I think as well, I'd just like to add with behavioural change, I'm aware a lot of the listeners might think, I can't make this investment. Behavioural change can account for 25% of a business's emissions. So immediately you can, of course, you're not going to be able to hit all of that, but we can really see material values to these kinds of interventions. But yeah, the grant itself, the money's there. Grants that you have to have a minimum project of about £2,200. But beyond that, we can support any project up to the value of £15,000. And on that, that would be £6,750 of grant funding. We chose an awkward number just so it stands out, but it's close to £7,000 effectively a business could get here. So this really is a great opportunity. Another thing I'd like to say, Deb, is we do have a time limit, unfortunately. Okay. Now, our time limit is mid-June of next year. However, as you would very much imagine, as these bills have been coming through, businesses, of course, have been getting in touch with us a lot more. And it's now looking that that funding most likely will run out before June of next year. We are still just, can we call it summer, do you think, Deb? Do you think we can still call it?
I think we can eke out summer, particularly after 2 years of COVID lockdown. I think we can make our own rules up.
I agree with that. So yeah, absolutely. It's still summer very much, but we know a long and hard winter is coming. So I'd say the sooner the better. I can also say we do notice that suppliers sometimes have difficulty at the tail end as it does start to become colder. People turn the boilers back on, it might be broken, you know, etc., etc. They think, oh, it's going to be expensive, now's the time. And you might be too late to beat the winter rush. So there is really no time like the present. Our grant, you only require one quote. So if there's any suppliers listening, perhaps you offer technologies, perhaps you offer interventions, you might be an LED install. But if you're offering something that's helping businesses, crikey, let us know, because your customers could use this as well. And there again, you know, we all need the help, don't we? Both from the supplier and the installers. So this is a real opportunity to get a competitive advantage, to give your customers these opportunities, much as you always do, Deb, in the funding that's out there. Moving forward, we have such an uncertain future when it comes to funding that I wish I could say what you know would be coming in both the short and medium term, but we, as you know, are having nothing in terms of kind of the future outlook. It's really difficult at the moment, and of course that immediately goes to the businesses, doesn't it?
Grab it while you can.
Grab it whilst you can, Deb. Absolutely, you're quite right. The other thing that kind of stands out to me is businesses have perhaps struggled to appreciate the impact or lack of impact of the price cap to them. So many businesses have been thinking, well, okay, when they're talking about bills on the news, that's what I'm focusing on. Actually, no, businesses, you face the wrath of the energy market if you're not in a fixed term contract. And as I said, we've seen people, the bills have gone up 3.5 times. Kilowatt hour for 1 kilowatt hour of energy. So if you think that probably 2 kilowatt hours for a kettle boiling for an hour, that would now cost about £1.40. So all of a sudden, these numbers are starting to have a value, a material value. And the best way you can combat that, the best way is these big interventions, solar, you know, insulation there again. 80% of our buildings, Deb, in 2050 will still be standing. So that's great in one respect. We have very good buildings in the UK. The problem is they are not appropriate. They're not appropriate now, let alone in 10, 15, 20 years. So your building's going to have to get these changes sooner or later, but there may not always be that funding that's there. And of course, the sooner you do it, the sooner you will realise those reductions in energy bills.
Brilliant. Dan, can I just ask you a couple of questions to drill down? I know that it's not limited to solar power. I understand that it's a whole raft of sustainably focused solutions. Does this apply? You mentioned a restaurant, which would have a bricks and mortar building, customers would come in. What about for a consultant who's based at home and works within a home office, if it's a registered limited company, for example, at a home address, can they make the same application for a home residence?
It's a superb question, Deb, and there's a couple of elements to it, but I'll keep it simple for the sake of Funding Friday. So under ERDF guidance, it is a difficult one to support kind of businesses that are based in homes. We've in the past worked where we can, where it's very clear that the benefit is for the business. However, the overarching issue we have, I just mentioned that price cap, and from experience, those who have home-based businesses will be on the price cap. And this would mean that, of course, they would have to register and get a business contract for their energy bills, and they would not be protected by the price cap. So it would be my strong advice to tell them to stay put for the time being. But it's a very good question, Deb. And, more and more we're seeing that people are kind of retreating in some instances to their home space for their office. So it's a really good question, because there again, our bills over, us as employees as well, our bills will really go up over the winter, both those working from home for an employer or those who are the business themselves. So it's a very good point, but unfortunately, this grant would not be able to help those people, but we could still give advice and provide guidance on the technologies they want to go forward with. We can also do some profiling for free. We do that absolutely for businesses. So if you wondered, I wonder what we could get with solar, I wonder what swapping all of our lights over would save us, we can give you a very good realistic view of what that would be, not kind of a plumped up one to kind of sell it. We can tell you very honestly what that will be to really empower you to make that decision then whether it's worthwhile or not.
And definitely from having conversations with you over the last few months, I think the value that we're underestimating is the fact that this is all you speak to people about all day, every day, and you're getting great ideas from businesses about how they're deploying the grants and how people are saving and what they're saving. Previously, we've always attacked this from a sustainability perspective, talking about the sustainable development goals and ways that we can get people to net zero. Actually, those will be happy side effects of helping people to save money this winter. So I love that we're not changing the narrative, it's just slightly reframed. Can you tell us a few ways in which different types of businesses are leveraging this opportunity?
Yeah, of course, Deb, that's not a problem. So it's a very interesting one. We have two types of businesses, those with big energy profiles and those with tiny energy profiles. Little in between, but you're usually one or the other. There's also two types of changes and interventions you can make. Those that impact you and you recognise, and those that don't impact you and you don't recognise day to day you've made that change. So let's look at a couple of quick examples. So manufacturers are one that are really feeling it at the moment. It's eye-watering because, of course, in that production comes a lot of energy use traditionally. So that will only be compounded and mean that they've got to charge more for their customers. So in those instances, things like compressors, which really are power hungry on site. Those who've got compressors will understand they're very leaky. Old ones can waste up to 80% of their energy, which is just outstanding. Again, LED lighting, this is one much like the compressor. People don't recognise. It's not going to hurt them having better lighting. They'll just be glad of it. So lighting there, again, a great one because you've got a big use, kind of many units. It really has a noticeable reduction on their energy bills. I spoke of those smaller brick and mortar buildings. Now, they're protected in many ways. The problems they're going to face are over the winter because they often aren't on a standing charge. Much us at home, we say I pay £150 a month. Business pays for what they use. The problem is it might be a slight cover for what will come in winter because these businesses use a lot of their energy over winter because it's about the heating. It's all about the heating. So at the moment, they may think, actually, we're weathering this okay. In a couple of months, when that heating goes on, it will be really eye-watering for those businesses when those bills come in. So for the smaller businesses, we can look at kind of efficient heating technologies. Infrared heating is one that really is taking off now. People can think infrared heaters, oh, they're the kind you get on online auction websites, so 20 quid and they're just cheap. I'm on about real good quality ones. They can have such a tremendous impact on the working environment. So that's like infrared heating. We could go for much more efficient boilers, heat pumps, expensive, but you're very much future-proofing yourself if you can get a heat pump. And all the while, you can really share what you're doing, because all of these things, your customer base will want to know about. This is part of your journey. So as you said, Deb, it's kind of a nice add-on, isn't it? That they get this additional benefit. And you're quite right. Why shouldn't they applaud themselves for it, as well as saving money there? But really, what I would say is, for kind of the breadth of what we're willing to cover, we're really fluid, and we appreciate that, many businesses have their bespoke technologies that actually, if they put a new piece of machinery to replace an old piece of machinery, even if it's something we've not dealt with before, that's okay. We're really we're scoped out to deal with that, and we can see if the savings there. So it might be something that's unique to your business, and you think, well, I bet they've not covered this before. Even so far as we've had a gym that implemented water saving technologies in the showers. Real simple technologies, but we think about it, it's not just the water you're saving. The important thing is the heat that's going down the drain with it, right? So there again, we can do water projects. It just opens up. Well, actually, the sky's the limit for this kind of thing when you start thinking about it. We once got asked if we could help buy coats. Someone wanted turn off the heating in winter and give all their employees thermal coats. Not the best employer, I have to say, but be creative. You can't use the grant for coats, but good luck to you all.
If you're listening, employer, we applaud the hustle, but no.
Absolutely, yeah. There with gloves and teeth chattering and all.
Oh, bless them. And please tell us a little bit about the application process. So I know that you are very supportive. You'll really handhold them through, but how do they take action? What do they do?
No, absolutely, Deb. So what I always say to our customers, to businesses, is we do not want to act as an obstacle. We are just here to help you. We're not the gatekeepers that, we're trying to trip you up at every step. We're here to help you. So first and foremost, they can talk to us, and that really is useful, especially in kind of a backdrop of uncertainty and high risk. I feel for any kind of investment like this, you really, it's not going to be something about, most likely, say installing solar. So that can be quite nerve-wracking, especially when it's tough. So you've got access to us. The application form itself, it's all digital. It's 2 pages, very simple requirements. The scope is really open. It's SMEs, so small and medium-sized businesses, enterprises, so those with less than 250 employees we're looking for, and 50 million in turnover. But there again, if you're uncertain there, come to us and we can help you kind of recognise that. We only need 1 quote, so we're not going to go say get 3 quotes. We can proof it and make sure it's good value for money and competitive, just to help the business. Beyond that, it goes to a grant panel, and we have a really high success rate at the grant panel. I'd say probably 95% success rate. We make sure that the projects we put forward, our project officers, are really robust. We calculate all the savings for you, and it's just a digital signature. That's it, Deb. And within a couple of days, we will most likely give you the green light and say, crack on, and make them installations. A really important point there that I'll just really highlight is they cannot start the work until we've green lighted it. It's so important. And I can tell you, nothing makes us sadder than when someone comes to us and says, I got brilliant LED lights installed last month. Straight away it crushes us. We really want you to have this money. Unfortunately, we've got no way around that. So in the very first instance, come to the team, wave your hand, let us know you're there. We'll get you signed up. Literally, we can get it turned around within a week. So we're not going to slow you down, but it just means that you're guaranteed that funding. And then once you've done the work, it's installed, you send us the invoice and the evidence that it's been paid, and within a couple of weeks, we send you back your 45% or 40% if you're in Berkshire.
Wow.
Simple as that.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Dan. As always, your perky energy and your fantastic information have been a pleasure.
If we didn't smile, we'd be crying, wouldn't we, Deb, at this point?
Yes, it is definitely going to be, as they say on the Game of Thrones, a harsh winter.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all that you're doing. I'm hoping that our listeners will thoroughly wear you and your team out over the coming weeks with inquiries about how to access this grant. Please do come back. I know you will with any other grants that you've got in the pipeline in the future. But thank you again so much for supporting us and giving your time and expertise. We really appreciate it. Any final?
No, just it's really important that no one suffers in silence. And I think it's going to be an interesting few months. It will be unprecedented and like something we've never seen before. It's going to be really terrifying for some. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that for businesses. And the important things is that they wave their hand. And, you know, you may not be in our area, but go to your local LEP, your local enterprise partnership, really scour. I've covered my areas. There are these funds available in varying amounts across the country. So I'd really say if you aren't one of ours, really go get yourself on Google. Even if you wanted to get in touch with us, we could certainly try and point you in the right direction. It would be great. I think you'd like the website, Deb. I know you're a fan. Last time you had me on, I didn't even know the website for the thing I was telling you about. So this time I came prepared. So if people want to visit Low Carbon Workspaces.co.uk, that's it. You'll find us. You can drop us an inquiry there. I'm on LinkedIn. It's Daniel Cope. So equally feel free to reach out to me there. And Deb, I know if they get in touch with yourself, you'll pass them on. So really just Low Carbon Workspaces and you'll find us.
Amazing. Dan, thanks for your time. Have
You're
an
most
awesome
welcome.
week ahead, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you as ever. Thank you, Deb.